I'm Will, I'm the Bald Book Geek, and there is this rumour going around that I hate YA. I'd love to know where that comes from. I'm very hard on books that I read, and I do expect good reading and good writing, being a bit of an English geek, from a book that I enjoy. So, here is a list of books that I adore, I think are really strong, brilliant YA. First up, The Hunger Games. Somewhere around me is going to be a picture of those covers. I don't own them physically. I have them on my Kindle. The Hunger Games is a dystopian book. It rode the dystopia fad, and it was turned into some okay films with Jennifer Lawrence. Quite toned down. So The Hunger Games is set in the future North America. It's very tightly controlled. You have different districts, capital ruling everything. Human rights are suppressed, the rich thrive, and the poor basically are starving. Sounds a bit familiar. A really brilliant series that didn't pander to the reader. I love that last book especially. I think book 2 is a little weak, and I think the middle section of book 3 can be cut down drastically. But actually, I'm glad that it didn't quite have the ending that everyone hoped it would. I'm glad that she didn't end up with a certain character, because PTSD, mind washing, and the inability to not want to kill that person. The next series also wrote that dystopian thing, Divergent series by Veronica Roth. Lovely box set that I got in a charity shop with 4 in there as well. Again, post-apocalyptic, slightly post-apocalyptic series, dystopian, people divided, genetic engineering, a bit science fiction-y, really interestingly done. And again, the spoilers now, Triss dies. The hero of the book dies, and in YA that's a big deal. To kill off the hero who didn't go into the sunset with the leading man and smile and make babies. Again, a lot of people hated that last book for that reason. At the end of the day, I'm glad that it happened. I think the downside to the younger reader audience is they want happy ending butterflies and the characters they're shipping in their heads to end up together. It didn't happen, and I'm glad. Veronica Roth is an okay writer. I will admit, Divergent does suffer from really weird world building. It builds one world, destroys it, builds another, and you're kind of like, okay. The world building in this book was a little strange. But overall, really enjoyable, and a series that I do love. The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. This is quite predictable, probably. Set during World War II, a girl in Germany called Liesel, and it's narrated by Death. This book nearly ended the guy's career because it kind of took off and off and off, and it became such a big thing. I will say I prefer his other book, I Am Messenger, to The Book Thief, but The Book Thief comes on this list because I've never read anything like it. I've never read anything like this, where it just, oh my god, you know, and it's just really interestingly done. Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. I went through a love-hate relationship with Rainbow Rowell. I do enjoy her work, but I preferred other books. But I'm putting this on here because I think out of all of her work, it's the easiest to get into. And it also reminds me of someone I know. I find Rainbow Rowell's writing a little bit generic. I feel like I've read her writing style 1,000 times, but I enjoy the stories she writes. She's written some fantastic books and definitely worth picking her out. She doesn't pander to the audience again, which I do like. Eleanor and Park is a very good book as well if you want some 80s nostalgia. Though most of the people reading her work wouldn't have been alive in the 80s, let alone born. Okay, now I feel old. I'm also going to count these as one book. I'm cheating now, I know, but Warm Bodies and The Burning World. I love this series, and I've not read book 3 yet, and that's a book that I'm desperate to read at some point or another. Zombie Apocalypse, and Warm Bodies is basically a retelling of Romeo and Juliet. Love manages to bring the zombie back to life. Very dark, quite brutal, but very well done, really enjoyable. Great books. Love this series, and The Burning World is then venturing out into this world and into what they're doing. Book 3 I'm yet to get my teeth into, but I want to read desperately. We're going to the younger end of YA now. This is How I Live Now. Britain has been invaded by an unknown force. You never find out who, by, or how. You just know Britain is at war. It's set contemporary, you're never quite sure when it's set, and she's an American girl who ends up staying with her relatives. Yeah, all hell breaks loose, and it's a war told from children on their own perspective. It's horrific in places, and you suddenly get to the end, and I will warn you, there's spoilers in this, and you suddenly realise you're not reading events as they happened, you're reading her telling you the events. You're reading her narrating back to you what happened, which is why the writing style is quite unique. It's quite a short book, but again, this is definitely the younger end of YA, but it's a very, very sad, very heartbreaking book, and I wonder how I would react in those circumstances. John Green, Paper Towns. I like John Green. I really do rate him as a writer, but Paper Towns is my favourite book. It's not his most well written book, and it does suffer from some of the earlier John Greenisms in the book. You know, geeky awkward guy, pretty girl, usual thing. Oh, and weird name picking. I don't know who in this day and age would call their child Margot, but it's a beautifully done book. It's a little road story. It's about friendship. It's got a coming of age vibe. I really, really, really enjoy his work. I think as a book, Turtles All the Way Down was far better written, and he's definitely growing as a writer, but this still hits those right nerves for me as a YA book. The Night Circus. Night Circus I had in paperback and it fell apart because it was an old second-hand copy I got at the library. Oh boy. Gothic, dark, a little bit of magical realism thrown in for good measure, and just the circus of dreams, and it's just pretty. This was actually written for NaNoWriMo. Usually people write stuff in NaNoWriMo and it's not very good, but this is brilliant. It's so detailed, so expressive, so wow. You know, you read this and you can get lost in this book, and you really do feel like the characters are believable and strong. It's not your typical YA in the best way possible, and I have to admit the hardback is the beauty, isn't it? Again, second-hand book. Definitely one to check out, and definitely this, I will say this one probably veers in the slightly older end of YA, and my favourite of all YA books, Perks of Being a Wallflower. I read this book for the first time when I was 13, 14, and I love it. I've had 2 copies of this in my life. My original hardback got lost, which to this day still annoys me. I don't know where that went. The main character is telling you his story in the form of letters, so everything pretty much starts with the phrase, "Dear friend." It's almost diary-like in terms of this deals with sexual abuse, it deals with PTSD, it deals with dysfunctional families, it deals with dysfunctional friends. So oddly, I can relate to this, not on those levels, but just being an extremely shy, quiet, mousy teenager. And this is just a beautiful book. It's beautiful, and sometimes I think a book just about nice people, a nice person. So, tell me guys, what do you think? What have you read any of these? What's your favourite YA books? What's your least favourite? What do you love? What do you hate about YA? I'm fascinated to know. And please like and subscribe.